problem for Giants when you look at it. They were talking about how, you know, coming into this, they're not expecting to win the game, which I think is a realistic approach and is generally a good way to go in with an open mind and look to learn. Problem is, I don't think you learn too much from that game because you just got outclassed. Like, what do you take away from that game? Oh, we got outlaned. And we maybe picked a farm jungler when we maybe shouldn't. Is that enough to learn from a game? I don't actually think so. So
play better is not constructive criticism.
Right, exactly. Yeah, play better. It's not really exactly something you can go in and go, okay, we'll fix it going into game 2.
We'll see what Lozark's words of wisdom have done through last game and this one, see if it's done something for the team. We've got the bans now coming through. It will be Vladimir, Braum, and Trundle out for G2. And Ryze and Nidalee aimed at the jungle, and of course Ryze at the mid lane. Kindred will also be at that jungle, leaving Lucian open for potential first pick. Has been locked in for G2. And Kick is very happy that he's picked up Lucian right now.
He won't be picking it up for himself, though, unless he wants to channel Cabo from the last split. Giants at this point, what is available? Ekko is up for them. Typically, we've seen that in this position. Elise is up if they wanted, although we have seen fairly low priority. Rek'Sai as well. If they wanted to go Ekko Rek'Sai, that would be a pretty solid lockup here. And I think actually allows Giants to start building what they were looking for in the last game, but maybe with that slightly more influential jungler.
Very possible. Or maybe they just go for a curveball. We've seen a lot of interesting picks come in different regions, but hey, there's the Ekko. There's the Rek'Sai coming in as the first rotation. Very standard, so looks like we're not going crazy just yet with the Giants draft.
At this point, do G2 want the Azir again? Do they want the Viktor? They could look to flex the Fizz as well. That is available. We saw PerkZ play it yesterday. We saw Kikis play it today. So they can just maybe lock the Fizz here and decide which lane it goes in later.
Azir still up as well for G2 if they want it. All of the junglers up apart from Nidalee and Kindred, so Lucian would be a fun pick to watch. Elise is still open, of course. Fizz, as you mentioned, could be a flex coming out for them. Haven't even seen it in jungle in recent days, but most likely going to go on top and mid. And still looking for their support, but we've seen from G2 from the last draft, they kind of came with a last pick and had that Soraka going on to Mithy. So putting that a little bit further behind in their draft. So they have eventually locked in the Azir and the Elise for their second rotation.
That leaves us in a situation where we either had the Ezreal come out from SONSTAR from the last game, the Caitlyn, if they want a little bit more, perhaps potency in their lane, or we've also seen them run the Zven if they want to go the less lane-focused route, but more teamfight-focused route. Not a big fan of Zven into the current Lucian build. You tend to just kind of get out-damaged early on, and unless you can teamfight harder, you tend to get punished fairly heavily. And considering how Giants got punished exceptionally heavily in the last game, I think picking weaker lanes is not the done thing in this game.
Because that will just result in you just getting crushed even harder, so still can't do anything in the mid-game. Hovering over a Zinian pick, I'm not even sure if that will help at this stage, but it has been a pick that Knight has picked up before in other regions, so could do something with that one.
Would work well with the Caitlyn. Also gives them a sense of crowd control with the double stun if you can get it to land, and he changes.
Over to Viktor. Going to be a little bit more boring. And just have another matchup in the mid lane with PerkZ. Same matchup, in fact. So SONSTAR this time with the Caitlyn. See if we can try and replicate the success that Zven and Mithy had, draft those stronger laners. But G2 might just go ham and just lock in the Bard.
And the Fizz. Okay, so G2 playing again different from what we've seen a lot of other teams. Getting that top lane Fizz worked very well for Kikis in the last game. Now he's got the matchup into Ekko, which was the same one as last game. Bard in the bottom lane with Lucian into the Caitlyn. What's paired with the Caitlyn is what's going to figure this lane out. How much damage can you realistically get done? Depends on the support. Don't go... Oh. Okay, well, I see what they want from here. The problem is you've just picked yourself a melee support into a high damage ranged matchup duo pair. Lucian Bard. is real high damage lane, and Hustlin is going to get poked down and chunked and auto-attacked and locked into the minion line with the Celestial Binding over and over again.
Like, yeah, as soon as he steps forwards, unless he lands the dredge line of the Century, then he is just gonna die instantly. Like, there is so much damage coming out from a Bard's Lucian lane, and Caitlyn doesn't have the same kind of pressure that she wore last game compared to the Soraka support, because you can't just sit long range. Like, Nautilus at some point will have to go in, otherwise they're going to straight up lose the 2v2. So
yeah.
it's hard, honestly. Like, support Nautilus is not tanky.
And that's the thing, is the only real way in this bot lane when you look at it is that Hustlin somehow manages to like walk out of the bush into the minion line, get the auto for the trap to get placed, to get the combo with the auto attack.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's you and Caitlyn's probably taking a lot of damage, or your Nautilus has in response. But Giants are looking for some sense of team fight now. They've got the Nautilus as a tank. They've got the Rek'Sai, the Ekko with the Viktor. On the other side, though, G2, they've got themselves fairly strong lanes again. And that spelled disaster in the previous game. And now they've got themselves Elise out of the jungle. Get that catch potential going.
They do, so see if Trick can make that one work. Also just saw that Knight swapped up to Ghost at the last second, so he'll be running Ghost and Flash. But we are very quickly getting into this game. So once again, show your support on Twitter, hashtag G2win or hashtag GIA win, as we head onto the Rift for the second game in this best of two between these two teams. We'll see if G2 can make that the G2-0, or Giants can pull this back and try and make it the draw and find their first win in one of these games in the LCS so far.
Well, a tied series, if Giants could somehow get it, would be a massive victory for them, regardless of the fact that it would be a tie. Taking 2 points away from the previous champions and then getting a point for themselves to take them off the bottom of the standings from week 1 would be a good start, but maybe that's a little bit of a daydream right now. We'll see how Giants can actually come back, perhaps, in this series.
Well, Zven and Mithy walking up this river here. And kind of just fanning out at the very early stage of the game, putting down the vision. We'll see if we potentially see a lane swap opening up. But there's a lot of pings going down. Not sure which team that's from. On the way ping, looks like Mithy and Zven. Going to place a deep ward onto Grump, so see where the top lane is starting.
Oh no. Okay, I can see what they're doing here. Look at how Zven's sitting in the bush. Are they actually going to wait for the duo lane to come down through the river?
I mean, they win the 2v2.
If they greedily come through the river, they manage to get the stop, or they can push up into the Grump and maybe look to disrupt. That's where Mithy's going. Sven's going with him, but they're on the ward. They stop the Grump, is what is going to be happening here as Mithy pushes over the ward.
Yeah, stop the Grump. Hustlin and SONSTAR will have to go into the bottom lane. Only take a bit of damage from Grump as they walk down here, so it's okay for now. And we will have this 2v2 opening up. I'm just interested in the early phases of the game here for this duo lanes, because Caitlyn usually has priority in these lanes. Usually will be able to poke down from long range. But look how defensive SONSTAR is using this Caitlyn. He's pretty much standing at his turret, just CSing with Piltover.
Yeah, he has to kind of sit that far back, though. But look at Hustlin's going to take the trade. Cosmic Binding didn't land, so unfortunately the follow-up couldn't really hit from G2. But Kikis, we saw the same thing happen in the last game. Didn't get the level 2 in time. Has to now concede a little bit of the lane advantage. But SmittyJ, remember, last game was forced to TP back and got all in by Kikis as Kikis hit level 6 fairly early on. And oh man, SONSTAR has had to concede so far back in that lane. I don't know when the last time I saw a Caitlyn completely lose out and have to sit way back this early on in a matchup.
I mean, it's
and
not
go,
usually
go a whole way behind on CS.
It's not
yes, some of
usually
it's
the
in front.
reason you pick Caitlyn. It's not to just like, it makes
Here
it
comes
easier
Max.
to CS at my tower. Hustlin's going to flash forwards, look for this dredge line to land. Now follows up onto Mithy. This could be a good setup for a first blood here, and he's almost certainly going to die. First blood over the SONSTAR, looking to set up onto Zven as well. Staggering blow. Trap does not activate in time. But still, first blood to Giants.
Yeah, good pathing by Max when you look at what they had adapted here. They knew that their bot lane was suffering heavily, so they bring Max down after one buff, skip off the blue, and get him down into the bottom lane to assist in their duo lane setup. And that is now going to allow SONSTAR a little bit of respite as we head through the early stages of this game. Gets him a little further up in CS. Zven did recall as well, getting himself the cull. SONSTAR did not recall yet, so won't be able to accentuate that gold lead for now.
Yeah, doesn't do much if you haven't spent it.
Yeah.
But yeah, still getting that first blood into SONSTAR is really nice. I want to see him be, once he does go back, be more aggressive in his lane rather than continue to farm at tower because he does have the advantage here. But still in those 2v2s, has to be so careful because so much damage comes out from that bard alone into a Nautilus. But nice setup as well and reaction by Hustlin. Holding Dredge line until the flash has already gone down, so there's no way Mithy could get away from it. And with this invade coming out, Maxlore may have to concede this as Trick comes in and picks it up.
Steals it away.
It's gone to him. Cosmic Binding does not get him against the wall. Bit of follow-up from Kikis. Actually, a lot of damage. SmittyJ's going to return a bit with phase dive.
Oh man, Kikis was thinking, if I get one more auto and I have that ignite on, I'm going for this because I have Playful Trickster coming back up soon. Did not get that last auto. But Trick is causing all sorts of problems for Maxlore, punishing him now for giving away blue buff and also not being in his own jungle, taking those small camps early on. So despite being there for the early trade in the bottom lane, Maxlore is being punished for not going for a standard farming jungle path.
Yep, our player of the game, Trick, from last game, doing work already against Maxlore in this one. And just getting level 6 Maxlore, Trick is significantly ahead in terms of farm and experience, and still trading in the top lane. Now level 6 should go to Kikis slightly faster, but I don't think we're going to see a massive punish.
Well, we did last game. I'm going to check the experience. So SmittyJ is ever so slightly ahead, so there shouldn't really be too much of a punish. Maybe after this wave,
they'll equalize.
It will equalize. Yeah, it is roughly even between the two. So yeah, you are right. We won't see a punish this game.
But also very difficult to straight up kill the other person because they are still very mobile. Plus flash from Smitty and Playful Trickster from Kikis, of course. Very difficult to lock them down. The difference in this game is there is a very slight CS advantage to Smitty this time around, where last game he was just behind in farm all game. Bot lane, despite getting that kill, SONSTAR is still behind in farm against Zven. So I actually need to see how this bot lane is going with the push going in towards SONSTAR now.
And that's very funny because Zven came back to lane with no pots as well.
Wow.
So typically what you would expect to be a matchup that for Caitlyn tends to be dodge the piercing light on the minion, you know, as it cuts through the minion and further. PerkZ wants to go in again. He goes way past his minion line.
But Knight's getting a lot of damage on the PerkZ.
Oh,
He's
Trick's
got the
here,
full
though.
channel actually from the Chaos Storm, but doesn't get the laser down to finish him off. Trick, oh no, he didn't get the auto attack off. I believe he cancelled it. And Zven's going to be dragged into the trap. Now we can see the synergy of that lane. And SONSTAR flashes after, heals well to get in range. And Zven just straight up died in that 1 versus 2.
And Zven was barely about to get his heal up from cooldown. You can see just the last seconds of his heal coming back up. SmittyJ ults back to the top side. So overall, around the map, it is Giants that come ahead with the lead there as they picked up another kill in that bottom lane, and it started to go in their favor. All from the presence that the other lanes, the other junglers, everybody else is having on bottom lane. First it was Maxlore coming to the bottom lane. That time it was Mithy not being in lane with Zven, caused Zven to get the 1 versus 2 right into him, and I believe it was a hook that landed from Hustlin.
Yeah.
They're making this Nautilus work more than realistically we normally would see in the current meta for a Nautilus support.
Well, it is a Hustlin special. I mean, he plays a lot on solo queue. We've seen a lot from him before, and if you're mechanically extremely good with a champion, you can make it work despite the meta. And still has been doing work in the bottom lane. That being said, Zven did just kind of walk up too far without Mithy. And then, yeah, a hook's going to land, and it was right into a trap. The setup was perfect, basically, from Giants. Maxlore's going to be ganking top lane. Urchin strikes away through Maxlore, plus the fish. Gets away from this engagement. Doesn't have to burn a summoner. Does have to use the ult.
Oh, Trick is here, just in case SmittyJ wants to go aggressive. No ultimate still on Smitty.
Oh, Cocoon follow-up. Maxlore's still very low, but he's going to burrow to safety. And Smitty's going to take a bit of damage on the way out as well as Trick is backing off. Zedri's Revenant will even that trade up. And Smitty still remains ahead in farm. So bot lane is ahead, top lane is ahead, mid lane is even.
Yeah.
A better start for sure. 1,000 gold advantage to Giants.
And you can see SONSTAR, despite being behind in the numbers of CS, there is a wave that's just pushed into him that he will be able to take, and take the lead on CS here as well. So don't be fooled by the fact that Zven is still up in CS. If you're looking at it being like, they've died twice, and still managing to farm.
Yep.
It's just how the minion waves have played out. Trick now on Maxlore. Again, he is being such a nuisance, but he hasn't actually forced Maxlore too far back. Max still keeping up on levels, still keeping up on farm. Has himself the Sightstone as well. Opted for that before the Cinder Hulk upgrade.
Yeah.
Mainly at this point, it's because there's a pesky spider in my jungle, and I want to be able to see where the spider is the entire time.
True. There's about a 300 gold advantage to Trick right now. It's difficult to track like jungle CS because like you have the small camps. And because Trick like literally just walked up to Maxlore, took away 2 of the big minions, which are majority of the gold. Maxlore finishing off the grump there. So yeah, there is a slight advantage to Trick, but it's not massive. It's not going to just mean that every trade from here on out will go to Trick. But he's been a nuisance for sure.
Giants, though, have themselves a lead.
They
Didn't happen in game 1. Happening
Ever.
in game 2, yeah. Ever, unfortunately, if you're a Giants fan. This game, however, a lot better start. And it's all because of that early pathing from Maxlore. He sacrificed a little bit of himself to get his bottom lane ahead, and then they punish Zven for pushing too far out without Mithy. So, you know, some uncharacteristic mistakes perhaps from G2, but certainly we spoke in the pregame about how Giants could look to capitalize on that. And speaking of capitalize, ooh, PerkZ has gone in.
He's going in, but he's onto the gravity field, and Trick was there, but I think he was aware that Maxlore was coming in, so he kind of just spooked Knight, and he'll back away. Mithy, whoa, very fast on the E, and immediately getting through the portal. Top lane, they are trading, but I'm not going to get excited just yet because it is still Ekko Fizz.
Yeah.
And it's funny, in the first game I was like, oh, maybe going to be more action, but as it turns out, because they're both building tanky, past like the first like 2-3 levels, they just tank each other.
Yeah, and this time though, SmittyJ has himself the lead in this. Kikis didn't get a lane advantage, didn't get the all-in, which gave him the experience advantage for level 6. So, not going the way of G2 quite like the last game. Mountain Drake being started. SmittyJ.
Oh, maybe that's all about to turn around. Parallel convergence.
Nice
Great
dodge. Timing
coming in from the playful Trickster, and Smitty, he should be dead right here. Urchin Strike, 1-on-1 kill to Kikis. Meanwhile, Drang goes down, but Trick, Mithy, and Zven are looking to punish here. Ace in the hole lands onto Zven as he makes his way through the portal. And Tempered Fate down Knight. Maxwell very low. He's still going to go over the wall, but now Knight's under attack. Zven is still returning some damage. Cosmic Binding doesn't quite land. Laser doesn't connect. PerkZ swoops in, but does not find a kill himself. So Giants with that Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, Mountain Drake, and the kill in the top lane in favor of G2 is the trade there. So Mountain Drake, Giants with this Caitlyn, going to be that little bit better now, pushing objectives, pushing turrets, and the epic monsters. Trick is looking for something bottom lane, but PerkZ busy chunking down Knight in the mid lane as well. Got to be careful though, as he is going to take a lot of damage from that turret. Hasn't done too much work on the turret for now. Last game we saw him chunk down the turret and take it on his own. I think he's had to play a little bit more carefully this game.
Yeah, just a little. PerkZ still slightly ahead in farm, is building towards an Asher's Tooth, of course. Meanwhile, on the other side, SONSTAR with the Hurricane and the Pickaxe. I think the bigger question from here on out is how much can SONSTAR do with that lead that he's accumulated? And can he actually carry 4 Giants right now? Because the problem that a lot of the Giants games have had so far is SONSTAR being out of position or not communicating with the team or not being on the same page as them. And now that this game is actually more on his shoulders, can he actually make this work?
Wow. That's going to be such a big talking point as this game explodes into a fight.
Oh, Hustlin is setting him up for success. Mithy's trying to make his way out, but Smitty is there to collect the kill. And that is a simple kill, pretty much. Kikis came down to the bottom lane with the TP.
Trick nowhere to be found on the bottom side of the map, so G2 still have to be careful here. Azir still mid lane too. G2 are 2 versus 4 and they know it. Trick hasn't been spotted though. Maybe they're bluffing to try and hold this. There's no minions here until this next wave joins. This is a very ballsy bluff and they've bought enough time for Trick to come down, but Giants can't push thanks to the Lucian ult.
Kikis is still kind of chasing after. Going to stop the recall there from Smitty. And another dredge line this time does not hit Kikis.
G2 just bluffed their way 2 versus 4
Yep.
to hold the bot lane turret. They had enough tools available to stop the tower push.
Like, surely they wouldn't stay.
Yeah, they'd never stay. Trick must be bot side jungle, surely. Mid lane, the long slide and glide out by PerkZ.
But you can kind of play with the mentality of people when you are the champions of Europe. It's just like, there's no way they would make a misstep like this, so there's no way we can punish right now. So,
well, oh, they got the flash. That's
flash.
pretty worth.
Yeah. Good Tempered Fate again by Mithy. So this tower slowly going down, but they need another minion wave to really finalize this bottom tower. Still gold advantage to Giants. Kikis is now heading back. He's on 2 pink wards for all of the
Cares
vision.
not for the pinks.
It does not.
But because he spent so long bot lane, it has made the depth, or at least the chasm between SmittyJ on the farm and Kikis a whole lot larger. 115-78 right now. So SmittyJ is having a much better matchup this time around. Will be able to get his items that bit quicker than Kikis and maybe stop Fizz from snowballing quite as hard as we saw in the last game.
PerkZ going for the fast push in mid lane, using all his Rise stacks to take down the tower even faster and brings up the Sun Disc. This is now Shuriman land over to PerkZ, and SmittyJ is also heading down. Fairly slow pace game, honestly, for the second one, but Giants still, or actually just ticked over and basically even now with G2. So G2 evening it back up in this game. Still have that tower advantage, of course, and still just trying to get these small advantages before we get to mid-game and we see more fights and more skirmishes.
Oh, there's going to be a fight in about 1 minute 30, Pulse.
Will there?
It's Infernal.
Ah.
Next dragon is going to be Infernal. So higher priority. Tower is already going to fall for G2 bot side, gives them greater access to that dragon pit. So if Giants are going to want to contest, they're going to have to position themselves in time to do so. Rek'Sai did just get used, so Max is going to be careful on his next recall. It may just about be up in time. No, will not be up in time for the dragon attempt.
Yeah, about 30 to 40 second difference. So, still, what are we doing in terms of vision now? Looks like Giants still have control over that area. PerkZ is farming up the mid lane. Still has a significant advantage overnight, about 20. Big advantage though in the top lane to Smitty, about 30, just over 30. And in the bot lane, SONSTAR doesn't have the CS advantage, does have the kills and assists. That has accumulated into a deficit still of around 200 gold to Zven. Advantage to Zven. And walking into this bottom lane, trap line is being set up, culling is going to be used, and Hustlin blocks a little bit of it, but only 2 minions survive, so difficult to take down this tower. Trick is going to walk down here, find this ward. And Knight was considering going down. Good hook onto Mithy once again. Complete lockdown. SONSTAR's going to find the kill very quickly. And Trick will back away from the Chaos Storm. And Giants should be able to pick up this bottom tower.
Yeah, Giants are going to be able to get this. No real way of getting on top of that Caitlyn right now. And despite her not having a flash, that trap line just pushes G2 so far back. Mithy gets caught out. And that is enough to push down the bottom tower. And I mean, you know, we spoke about it in Game 1 about how Giants stack up member by member, and seemingly they've been able to fix some of their issues with their draft here in the second game. SmittyJ wants to go aggressive, still the numbers advantage. And that's going to be Giants taking the dragon. It was
If an Ardent Blaze has stolen the dragon.
I think
we've seen some crazy things steal dragons over the last couple of years. Sometimes like a Jana tornado. Olaf does a lot of damage though.
That's true.
Like Ezreal Q.
That does a lot of damage.
That's true. GBM as well.
We're not very good at this.
No. What have been some? I can't really think of any. But Kikis, he's back into the top lane. Mithy's actually going to be backing up this time with Trick. So they'll try and find a tower on the top side. But Hustlin, he's already on the way. He's going to have to walk very quickly to try and assist with SmittyJ. Going to be trying to break into the team. And Trick is being chased down. Flash after was looking for the Dragon Blow, but didn't quite find it. SmittyJ is still chasing after Trick, trying to make it through the ball. Mithy, MVP, magical journey. Hustlin thinking about taking the journey himself, but does not want to go through the gate. Could be an Iris on the other side. Oh, mid lane. Maxlore again survives on almost no HP. PerkZ as well. Zven also might be under the same fate. SONSTAR chasing after SmittyJ as well. SONSTAR does have the ultimate, but Zven's not in kill range.
No, Zven's out. That's
3 people.
Oh, man.
All escape with their lives.
G2. That right there is the epitome of skinny your teeth.
Yeah.
That.
Heavy breathing. Oh, my God.
Woo. PerkZ got himself out. I mean, even in the top lane, Trick got himself that Coco at the end.
Yeah.
Marshmallow hadn't dropped in hard, but the Penguins clapped his return through the magical journey.
Yeah, Penguins hurt a lot, actually, when thrown at people.
I've never had somebody
penguins.
throw a penguin.
Well,
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, they hurt. Like, beak first, I guess. You know?
I guess so.
I'm not an expert on penguin throwing for maximum effect.
The more I think about Snow Day Bard, the more 50-50 I am on it being quite a cruel skin.
Yeah.
With actually throwing.
It's nice and fluffy. He's got penguins.
You know,
it's all about the hot chocolate.
With the
Yeah, it's got
grapes in. Yeah.
It's quite dark when you think about it.
Yeah.
This wandering cosmic being abducting penguins for military use.
Unless, you know, it's the one from Wallace and Gromit, which only UK viewers are going to know what we're talking about. But mid lane, there's the Tempered Fate.
You take a timeout, Knight.
Yeah, just timeout. Simmer down.
You pipe down. Send a message. Good stuff. All right. Mithy is still just placing down all this vision and kind of... It's kind of weird, like the dynamic of the game has shifted over the last couple of minutes where G2 seem to have the pressure now with the vision in Giant's jungle, taking down the bottom tower. Smitty's here. Do manage to clear out the minion wave, but Knight only just arriving and the tower's basically dead.
Well, in this scenario, the Caitlyn being top lane is hindering Giants because, you know, G2 know they have the numbers advantage with Kikis teleport being available, so that's why they were pushing up to look and try and poke, see if they could get the turret. So ultimately, Giants don't pay the iron price on that one. They don't end up losing too much from it, but at the same time there was the opportunity for G2 to go aggressive, and Giants got themselves the outer tower in top side. They may very well lose that. I'm going to check the turret health as Kikis pushes up there. Yeah, they've lost that. So Kikis is going to even it up.
He's going to poke this tower a couple more times with his trident, and it will go down. There we go. SONSTAR and Hustlin just arrived. Props to Hustlin in this game, making the Nautilus work. 100% kill participation so far in this game has really been setting up SONSTAR. But it's been those kills. I think we both did. I think everyone did, honestly, apart from Hustlin. And he's made it work. But in this game, Giants still have the lead, but there's still an Azir on the other team. And late game scaling, maybe the Caitlyn can deal with it. A lot of pressure on SONSTAR to make it work. But pretty much all PerkZ has been doing this game is farm, and he is 235 farm at 21 minutes, just cresting the 22-minute mark.
Pretty decent.
Yep. Rift Herald, he's gone.
Yep, went back again. Another game where Rift Herald gets completely ignored.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of Rift Herald in Challenger, which is, I think, the sad thing, because I was hoping that would have some sense of influence. We saw a lot of Rift Herald dominating the top lane.
Yeah. We saw so many Gnar Trundle matchups. Slightly different LCS, slightly different every region. I don't care about your Tempered Fate. I'm just going to carry on going, keep on trudging along, but maybe not for too much longer. Could not keep swimming. And that was a kill onto Hustlin. A simple pick for G2. Whoop. Mithy takes a bit of damage. SONSTAR annoyed that his spotter had gone down.
Mountain Drake is the next Drake coming up in 50 seconds. So, again, Giants already have one of those. And they got themselves the Infernal to start. So, another pairing on that. Maybe Mount Doom.
Mount Doom.
We're doing the Alchemy.
The Alchemy, yeah, it will be the Volcano combination.
You've got to try and figure out what they make when you mix them.
Indeed. Well, there has been a lot of equivalent exchange in this game. G2 are now ahead again, kind of just trading back and forth. So finally catching up, and with Dragon in 20 seconds, might have a fight over it, or maybe one team will just kind of take it.
This was Lasagna's. Oh man, that's a lot of weight to pull if he's solid gold right there. That's, I guess, we haven't really delved too deep on exactly what Nautilus is.
He must be ripped into that suit.
It. Yeah, exactly. You can just pull with one arm. Woo! Got it.
Not just him, but it's the entire suit of armor. Wow.
So,
very impressive.
I've got a question about the alchemy, right?
All right.
Is it the number of infernals that impact the damages? Or Knight gets caught.
Oh, he's just completely dead. And Trick is going to jump back to his team. SmittyJ teleported in just to chrono break back to where he teleported from. SONSTAR is going to bleed out from the Ignite. Maxlore is being chased down. Oh, the Penguins. You can't escape the Penguins. That's a kill. 3-0. G2 pick up a nice fight.
G2 are just going to go for the Baron right now. Set up the Sun Disc in mid lane. Get your way over to the objective. And again, this time, just G2 find themselves a good start to the fight. And by the time Giants have grouped, SmittyJ had to ult his way back out, realizes one of the tanks aren't there, the rest of Giants just kind of fall over. No Maxlore for 15 seconds means Baron is going over to G2 eSports, and from what was a close game for a while, this game has evened up now and pretty much gone well in favor of G2 eSports.
Yeah, Baron now over to maybe we'll get a consolation prize, but this was set up by PerkZ looking for the play.
He's been trying that all series long.
Yeah.
Finally manages to get the start of that play. Combos it with Trick, and by this point, there's nobody to peel for SONSTAR, and SONSTAR too far forward. Hustlin already backing himself away. Your tanks are running away from your AD carries. It's not a good fight setup to be in. G2 capitalized very easily.
Yeah,
and
kind of broke one open. Whoa, okay. Giants had the opportunity while G2 were taking the Baron, but yeah, just backed away from it.
Oh, G2 maybe still looking for a fight here. And what I was going to ask was, so the size of the volcano, you know, mountain and infernal, is it dictated by the number of mountains or infernals?
Mountains, I would assume, right? Because like the how volatile, I guess it would be like the infernal aspect. Oh,
so like 3 is like Krakatoa or something like that? Okay.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah, I think it makes sense that the mountain would dictate the size.
Okay.
All right. So this one is another mountain dragon. Or the same mountain dragon, actually, yeah. Didn't even go over, so...
Yeah. It was the same one. Started by Giants, they backed away. Why haven't we gone with 3 mountains is Mount Everest?
Because we've usually had it paired with something else, because Mount Everest is not a volcano. PerkZ is going to pop the ult. Depth charge in return. A lot of long-range abilities being used right now,
Viktor.
but I think it's all going to accumulate into a kill onto Maxlore. Not quite. On a Blaze, he's going to... I can do long-range too, guys. And Kikis is coming in, he's looking for the fish onto someone. SmittyJ's getting chased down, he'll have to back up behind his tower. Middle tower will crumble. More poke coming in from PerkZ as well. SONSTAR has a precarious place to recall. PerkZ was looking to close them off as well. Mid tower will also fall for a second tower in the mid lane. And everyone's going to take the portal.
They're just going top lane. They're going to push that back out as well by the looks of it. Or they're going to recall out, buy up, and get themselves back in the game, clear out the jungle. Again, just G2 from just these last couple of fights have managed to completely dominate Giants.
Catching them off guard, honestly.
And, you know, I was fairly impressed by how Giants started this game. Completely adapting what you normally would do with the jungle path and actually bring Rek'Sai, utilize the ease of getting into the lane early on, get the Caitlyn and the Nautilus ahead, then they punish onto Zven when he's 1 versus 2. But unfortunately, it's not enough. Kikis TPing in behind. They've got members of Giants trapped.
Oh, cheese it, Maxlore. You're going to have to try and get out of here pretty much by yourself because no one can really help you. Well, Knight managed to actually get there in time with a fantastic gravity field into all this chain CC. Ultimate from PerkZ. And it's not enough to save Zven. And all this has turned around on them. Chasing a little too deep. SmittyJ jumping back. Hustlin's low himself. The Emperor of Shurima will finalize the kill onto Hustlin for a 1-for-1 trade. Fish does not connect onto SONSTAR. He's not hungry.
Zven with the misposition in the fight, pushing forward, ends up getting dropped real quickly, and if Zven was there, they could have cleaned up, but Giants are able to at least deal with G2's push and slow them down once again, push them right back. I want to take a look at what forces Zven to push forward in this fight. Gravity field is down. He actually just dashes. Oh, that's sad. Dashes into the gravity field, can't clear it in time, gets locked in parallel convergence, perma-stun for multiple seconds, and gets dropped by Giants turning their attention to him. That's just Zven misplaying in that team fight. Thought he was clearing it, did not get all the way out of the gravity field.
He also got dragged back into a trap. Just closed underneath him to add insult to injury. So yeah, SONSTAR was having a fantastic time just sitting in the bush and shooting people. So that's a fight that SONSTAR likes, where he doesn't have to really do anything other than stand still and be a turret. So now that Giants have not quite evened up the game, but have definitely stalled out the aggression from G2 in this one. 6-5 in kills, but significant tower advantage. Not quite the almost perfect game we saw in game 1. Definitely more messy out from G2. Giants have been holding a little bit stronger. Parallel convergence will get the slow onto Trick, but will not get the stun. So many traps and double headshot as well out from SONSTAR.
G2 are just saying if we step on multiple at a time,
he can't hit us all.
Yeah, they'll expire. Only one of us is going to get hit.
But nope, in this case, he can hit everyone who steps into a trap.
Venn diagrams were set up for a second there. Gravity field plus parallel convergence. PerkZ wants to go in.
Didn't really find the overlap. Here's the soldiers looking for some damage. G2 getting chased out of the base now. They're going to have to run through the trap line. A bit more damage coming in from SONSTAR, but the ebb and flow of the tide. And G2 eventually pick up the inhibitor here, 29 minutes into the game. I'm starting to really open up the base from Giants, making it harder and harder for them to come back into this game. G2 currently with that single mountain dragon.
Mountain is the next one again.
Okay.
So,
so right now they kind of have like a hill, and then they'll have like a full mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smitty, I think, did he get that? I couldn't tell. Well, he tried.
I mean, we've had a lot of mountains and infernals here on LCS 1 today. EU LCS 1, of course. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's been good. Not many clouds, very few oceans, just a lot of infernals.
Clear skies for team fights.
Yeah, just a lot of erupting volcanoes. Lots of aggression. But in this game, lots of slow periods. You can see the next one being mountain, as you rightly said. And 1 minute towards that dragon. 1 dragon towards that minute. Maxlore carrying out this one as Baron will also be up in 47 seconds.
Reaching the point in the game, though, where this Caitlyn will start to become more effective than the Lucian. Lucian's going to need to hit Hustlin and Maxlore and SmittyJ multiple times to reduce their armor. Whereas Caitlyn, with the crit build, doesn't yet have any armor busting potential, but still is going to have just more damage overall. PerkZ gets caught.
Gets locked up by Mithy. It kind of worked out in the end. Mithy is going to come in here, and Kikis is coming into the back lines. He's still very annoying to take down. Maxlore's getting chunked low. PerkZ in the same boat. Knight will go down. Both mid laners exchange. SONSTAR getting taken out there by Trick, and Hustlin will receive the same fate. Double kill coming out there from Zven, taking the duel to Giants. And Maxlore also went down, and just from this random fight in Upper River, we may just have the end of the game.
Yeah, G2 look like they're going to close it out from this. They've still got Zven, and it didn't even matter that the Caitlyn theoretically should end up taking over, because SONSTAR was too busy dealing with Kikis and Trick for that entire fight. The G2, they're going to look to close this out and get their second win.
Mithy, he's here with his penguins. He's throwing in the penguins of Madagascar. Get in there, Kowalski. Take down that tower. Maxwell's going to jump in, try and do some more damage, but he really doesn't have a lot of it. He's just kind of a tanky Rek'Sai who is now dead. Ace coming out there from Zven. 5-4-1, and the game itself. G2, 2-0 on the day over Giants. Solid victory out there from G2, honestly. Little harder in game 2. A little slower, a lot of mistakes were made, but as soon as we got into mid-game and late game, game was over.
Yeah, I mean, this game a lot better from Giants, though. That is somewhere I kind of have to touch on, is the pathing early game, a lot better out of Giants to start this one off. And there were a couple of moments where you're looking at that and thinking, well, Giants are actually taking the fight to G2. They are holding their own for now, but the problem arose when G2 were just like, okay, well, we'll just set up this fight perfectly and take you out before you can ever actually fight us, despite you having a lead. And just the fights were better picked from G2. As we got through the mid-game, they were able to set them up with Trick, with Mithy, with Kikis. And from there, it didn't matter that Giants had done okay in the beginning of the game, because G2 had kept up enough that it was just like, oh, PerkZ goes in, starts the fight themselves, and is able to kind of deal everything that they needed him to do. So G2 still pretty much outclassing in the end of the game. That was one of the areas that we maybe raised as a suspicious part for G2. Yeah. Didn't really get super late game, but still, fight priorities and you know, the way of kicking them off looked really good for G2.
Not really challenged, I felt, in that game. So kind of just like made some dumb decisions, and then it didn't really matter, as you said. And like PerkZ had a very easy game. Like pretty much all of that was just him farming away. Entered the game with the most damage in the game, 23,000 damage, and just like killed everyone just from farming throughout the whole game and then getting into those team fights in the end. And that game also ended in a really bizarre way. We just had this like random fight in top river, and that was just the end of the game. And Giants was just grasping at straws because they had the team fight, and SONSTAR, yes, he had a good start to the game, but really couldn't capitalize. It was problematic. I do want to praise Hustlin, though. We questioned the Nautilus, but he really set up the early game for Giants. He set up all of the kills, actually, for Giants in the early game.
I still just don't feel like Giants have the bite of when they were given that lead, just couldn't extend it, couldn't do anything with it, and it ends up that G2 get the win.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, we're going to send it now on to stage where QuickShot is standing by with the